Before we commence the webinar, I would like to introduce you to our speakers for today, Dr. Peter Chee and Dr. John Maxwell. Dr. Peter Chee is the President and CEO of ITD Group, Asia's leading multinational provider of the world's best training programs. He has over 20 years of international experience in leadership training and coaching. Dr. Chee partners with Jack Canfield to develop the Success Principles 30 Days, an audio program in Asian edition. Dr. John Maxwell is New York Times, Wall Street Journal and Business Week best-selling author with over 50 books. He's named the world's top leadership guru by leadershipguru.net and also named in Amazon.com's Hall of Fame. Dr. Maxwell is the founder of Equip, Enjoy Stewardship Services, Maximum Impact, and has trained more than 2 million leaders worldwide. And now I'd like to hand the conference over to your first speaker for today, Dr. Peter Chee. Thank you, sir. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Peter Chee. Dr. John Maxwell and I wish you a good day and a very warm welcome to the laws of leadership and teamwork. Follow them and people will follow you. I will be facilitating and sharing throughout this session. Dr. John Maxwell will be presenting a few segments on recorded simulcast, and this would be a one-way broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, the laws of leadership and teamwork from Dr. John C. Maxwell. I've seen people practice it all over the world. I have practiced it myself, and it has worked wonders for me and our team members. We are all going to have an exciting, fun time learning many useful things together. And what you're going to learn today, if you apply them religiously, it's going to increase your level of influence and make you a much more successful leader and team player. Are we ready to learn? If you are, just look at what's on the screen and say it out loud together. I am ready to learn. I am so happy and grateful to be at this webinar. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This is a good start. Well, like you have heard, Dr. John C. Maxwell has been recognized as the world's #1 leadership guru. He's the New York Times best-selling author of over 50 books and has trained over 2 million leaders worldwide. Now, what's the thing that really makes him stand out the most? And there is nothing better than this quote, which actually describes very well about Dr. John C. Maxwell and what he stands for. It says that genius is the ability to reduce complicated to simple. And this is it. This is a trademark of Dr. John C. Maxwell, because you will learn about the laws today. You will find that they are simple, easy. You will see tremendous power and you'll be able to increase your influence. And today, we're going to have fun learning. We're going to enjoy learning together, and this is how we're going to do it. At the end of the webinar, you will receive excellent reference material on laws of leadership and teamwork. This will allow you to continue to read and learn. Very important key points and examples will be given to you in reference material. And number 2, there will be times when I will open up the line for sharing, where you'll be given an opportunity to share what you have learned and how you plan to apply what you learned today. And at the end of the seminar today, for all those of you who have shared, there will be winners. There will be 3 winners. There will be one 100% scholarship worth 2,000 Singapore dollars and 2 50% scholarships worth 1,000 Singapore dollar each to learn from Dr. John C. Maxwell live in person on the 4th of July at Shangri-La Hotel, Singapore. Now, at the end of the seminar, I will also let you know if in case you would like to meet Dr. John Maxwell live in other locations in Asia, because he's making a tour across Asia in early July. And finally, point number 3, there will be other great bonuses that will be available for you at the end of today. Right, now you're ready to learn? Let's proceed. Let's go on to the first law, and I'll be talking about the laws of teamwork, and then from there I'll be moving on to the laws of leadership. Let's start with the first law of teamwork. When Dr. John C. Maxwell wrote this book, he has 17 irrefutable laws of teamwork. This is the first one. It's called the law of significance. 1 is too small a number to achieve greatness. Let's listen to Dr. John Maxwell for a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, give a hand to Dr. John C. Maxwell.
I want to take a moment and talk to you about the law of significance, which basically says 1 is too small a number to achieve greatness. Again, I would challenge you like I would challenge anyone else. Name one person in the history of mankind who by himself or by herself ever achieved something significant for mankind. I've thrown out that challenge on dozens of occasions, and not once has anyone ever been able to say one person alone did something significant. I think a sign of maturity in our life is when we begin to understand that if we're really going to do something significant, something that is truly fulfilling, we're going to have to be a part of a team. I can still remember very well that at the age of 40, I began to assess my own life, and I was a little bit discouraged after doing my kind of half-time assessment and realizing that as a leader, I had not accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. And I began to ask myself, why? What's happening? After a couple of days of introspection, I came to the conclusion that I had failed to develop the people around me, and I had failed to develop a team of excellence. I made a commitment at 40 that I say is the most important business decision I've ever made, and that is it really formed the law of the inner circle. Those closest to me determine the level of my success that I teach in the 21 Laws of Leadership. The decision I made at 40 was this. I would spend more time, more effort, more money. I would focus more on developing a team than anything else in my life. And because of that emphasis and because of that focus and because I understood at the age of 40 the law of significance, one is too small a number to achieve greatness, I began to pour my energy into a team. I have found it is true, teamwork makes the dream work. And when you begin to pour energy into developing a team, the law of significance takes on new meaning. You begin to understand to achieve something worthwhile in life, you have to do it together. Or as Mother Teresa so well said, without you, I cannot, and without me, you cannot. But together, we can do great things.
Thank you very much, John. I think that was awesome. Let's give him a round of applause. Wonderful presentation on the law of significance. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this tells us how important teamwork is. And what Dr. John C. Maxwell just said, teamwork makes the dream work. Now, let's just ponder for a while, and let me ask you a question, and I'll give you about 30 seconds. You have a piece of paper and a pen right in front of you, and I want you to write down very quickly in 30 seconds what comes up to your mind, the three most important things that makes up a great team. Go ahead. Write down what you think the three most important things that makes up a great team. All right, let's finish up this questions to the answer that I've just to the question that I've just given. Now, I'm sure many of you would have put down different answers because there are many things that make up a great team. Let's look at the main things, the core elements of team excellence. Well, you see right down there, the foundation is where leadership is. So leadership is the cornerstone or foundation of team excellence. And then we have communication, where team members communicate well and effectively with each other. And competence, where we talk about team members who are knowledgeable, skillful, and capable to deliver results. And then we talk about commitment, willing to put in their best, motivated team members who are willing to go the extra mile to deliver the results for the team. Let's now move on to the next law, which is called the law of the H. And this relates to the foundational leadership which is required for successful teamwork. The law of the H says the difference between two equally talented teams is leadership. So leadership makes the difference. Later on today, in the second half of the session, we're going to be talking about the laws of leadership. So we'll be covering that. I will move on to the next law of teamwork. This is called the law of price tag. The law of price tag says that a team does not reach its potential when it does not pay the price. So ladies and gentlemen, I will call upon Dr. John C. Maxwell again to share with you about the law of the price tag. Please welcome Dr. Maxwell.
The law of the price tag basically says that a team grows until the price gets too high. Whenever I see an individual that has stopped growing, and whenever I see a team that has stopped performing well, I understand what the issue always is. It's a price issue. Every one of us have a certain level of price that we're willing to pay, and if that expectation or request goes beyond that price level, there's a tendency for us to pull back and say, wait a minute, I'm not sure that I want to pay the price. I talk often to sports teams. Recently I was speaking to a collegiate power in basketball, and I looked at those players before the game and I said to them, when you get on the basketball floor, the team that is going to be opposing you is equally talented with you. You could probably flip a coin and say which one's the better talented, and it would be heads one time and tails the other, because there's not much difference between the talent of two excellent teams. So who's going to win? The most talented team? Not usually. The most committed team is the one that's going to win. The team that wants it bad enough. The team that is willing to pay the price, to dive for the basketball before it goes out of bounds. The person that's able to take a little bit more energy than what they probably even have within themselves to get the rebound. It's the one who wants it the most that's going to get it. That's the way it always is. George Halas, the great football coach, legendary for the Chicago Bears, said anyone who does their best never regrets it. I have discovered that people who don't do their best live a life of continual regret. So give your best shot. Give it your best effort. Re-enter. Re-energize. Understand that your team needs you and you need your team. And when you give your best and the person beside you, they're paying that same price, all of a sudden, the performance level of your organization begins to increase. Why? Did you get more talented? No, 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 no. You had the passion to pay the price. And that's always what makes the difference between two excellent competitive teams.
Thank you very much, John. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was the law of the price tag. It relates to commitment. Are we willing to do what it takes to achieve the goals as a team? Now, as I go on, I want you to think about what you're learning today and how you would like to apply it, because in a while I would open up the line for you to share what you learned and how you would like to apply, and for which at the end of the session there will be 3 winners. Alright? So let me move on now to the law of the niche. The law of the niche says that all players have a place where they add value the most, or they add the most value. This is really critical for team success, because not all team members are equally talented, and different team members have different strengths. So it's important to create a synergy in the team where everyone plays to their strengths, where the team leader and all team members are able to put people in their strength zone. So this is the key essence of it. Stay focused on your core genius. Now, some people, or a lot of people, ask me and John, what happens when there are weaknesses? What do we do with it? Well, if there are weaknesses, if it's not related to your area of talent or giftedness, then there is nothing much that you can do with it. Because if you are in a team and a team requires everyone to sing and dance, but if your core genius is not to sing and dance, is not your talent or giftedness, then there is nothing much that you can do about it. But if your weaknesses lie in the area of choice, that is, if it relates to things like attitude, like discipline, like, working harder, waking up earlier, listening to people, all these things are areas of choice. You can choose to be more interactive, you can choose to listen to people more, you can choose to be more open to feedback, you can choose to be more disciplined. So in those areas, that's where you need to improve as a team member. And this now goes to relate to the next law, which is called the law of the chain. The law of the chain says that the strength of your team is impacted by its weakest link. And what do we do when we have a weak link in the team? Now, before I go to that, let's listen once again to Dr. John C. Maxwell.
The law of the chain says that the strength of the team is impacted by its weakest link. Of all the laws that I teach in the area of teamwork or that I write about, this is the most difficult, and let me explain why. As a leader, I always want to take everybody with me on the trip, and as a leader, I want everyone to excel. And whenever you are forced, as I am when I write about this or teach about the law of the Chee, to say that in the team, there are some weak links, and that you can only be as strong as your weakest link. Now, first of all, let me say that if you are the weaker person on the team, that doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean that even what you're doing is unacceptable. But what it does mean is the only way for the team to improve is for you to improve. In fact, one time a person asked me, they said, what is the greatest contribution I can make to my team? And I looked at them and I said, very simply, get better. If you improve yourself, you'll improve your team. So many times we want to improve others or correct others or change others or grow others. I would say to you, start with yourself. Often I have discovered that if I start with myself, not only do I get better, but now I have the ability to complement and complete the players on the team and help them to get better. It's our goal in this training to help you understand that yes, you have strengths and yes, you have weaknesses. But as we understand the weaknesses of each other on our team, we can bring aside them strengths, people that can add value, complement, and complete them. That's our goal, to develop a team so that we maximize your strengths and we cover your weaknesses. And then the law of the chain will be a law that basically your team doesn't have, because you have understood that if you can add value to the person that's beside you, and there can be an openness and honesty about what you do well and what you don't do well, then as a team you can begin to have synergy and you can begin to gel and really reach your potential.
Thank you very much, John. So ladies and gentlemen, that was the law of the chain. One of the most challenging laws, as Dr. John C. Maxwell has mentioned. So that leads to my next question to you. What do you think we do when we have a weak link in our team? What do we do? Well, the first thing is we train them. We look at possible options to coach them and counsel them. And if, especially like I said, excuse me, if it relates to their area of choice, that means it's something that they can choose to improve and get better in, then we would train them, coach them, and counsel them. But if it's an area of giftedness or talent, where if they're in a team where they're supposed to sing and sing very well, but this particular person in the team member just does not have the necessary talent or giftedness to sing, then you might have to move this person to a different team. It doesn't mean the person has to leave the organization, but in organizations there are many teams. And in different teams, people are able to contribute differently and produce to their best if they are able to engage on their strengths and their talents. And the third point is that, sometimes it's easy to categorize someone as a weak link, and a lot of leaders make a mistake in doing that. Well, the problem could be simply that our link with them is weak. So therefore, we have not built a certain relationship or understanding, or we misinterpret or judge them wrongly, and we think that they are a weak link. Sometimes people are not happy in a team, and we categorize them as a weak link. But what we need to do is to address those issues and see how we can coach and counsel them to overcome it, rather than to take the easy way and say that we will trade them. So this is a very important law that we have to deal with regularly. Now let's move on to the next law, which is called the law of the scoreboard. The law of the scoreboard says that a team can make adjustments when it knows where it stands. Now this again is very important, because the team needs to know where we're going and where we are right now and how we're going to get there. But that's as it relates to the goals and how we're doing. But the scoreboard also tells us to look at our strengths, our weaknesses, and our areas of improvement, and keep a score of that and look at how we're doing in terms of improving the different team members. So the value of the scoreboard is such that you find that, the value of the scoreboard you will find is that you will be able to understand, to assess the situation and be able to evaluate, to be able to get continual feedback on how you're doing, and it helps you in making decisions and making adjustments, and that really is necessary part of winning. So ladies and gentlemen, the important part about the important part about the law of scoreboard is that we must be willing to listen. We must be open to feedback. So therefore, you see the words of Dr. John C. Maxwell, which says that the best leaders are listeners. And ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest gifts you can give anyone is the gift of care and attention. So when we listen to people attentively, it shows that we care and we give attention to people when it's due. Well, the other part about leading people and teams is that when we talk about the law of scoreboard, it is important for us to be open to feedback. And as best-selling author and speaker Ken Blanchard mentioned, feedback is the breakfast for champions. And ladies and gentlemen, that is something which I would say is very, very important, because when we are open to feedback, we're able to receive valuable information that will help us to improve ourselves and help us to improve the team as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to move on to the law of connection. And the law of connection is one of the critical laws of leadership. Now, I've just finished talking about some critical laws of teamwork, and now I'm going to move on to talk about the laws of leadership. And after listening to John Maxwell talking about the law of connection, I'm just going to open up the line to see if you would like to share about what you have learned so far in terms of the laws of teamwork. And like I said, those of you who share very effectively and share from your heart about how you're going to apply what you learn, you stand a chance to win a very valuable prize at the end of today, which is worth more than 2,000 Singapore dollars. So ladies and gentlemen, the law of connection says that leaders touch your heart before they ask for a hand. Let's call on Dr. John C. Maxwell once again to teach this law.
Is relationships. It's at this level that people follow you, not because they have to. They're now following you and they're following me because they want to. This is a wonderful level to be on. Let me explain this level for a moment. You see, at this level, you like people and people like you. I found out a long time ago that people won't go along with you if they can't get along with you. And again, every one of us have known people that we worked with or worked for that we didn't like. And it's not any fun to follow people that you don't like. It's just not any fun. And yet I have found that at this level, number 2, they begin to like you and you begin to like them. And sometimes, you know what, I sometimes call this the second mile level, because at level number 2, people stay longer. Maybe they stay after work. If you're in a major project, they don't go home at 5. They may stay till 7, 7:30 at night. They may come in the next morning at 6:30 in the morning. Why? Because there's a connection. There's a relationship. They like you. You like them. They'll go the second mile with you. It's a wonderful level to be on. I would say one more thing about the second level before we go to the third. Whenever I talk to people who want to increase their leadership and want to certainly increase their level of influence, I share with them that they need to work hard on their people skills. It is true. People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. And your ability to connect with people, such as in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, where I teach about the law of connection, where leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. Your ability to connect with people, your ability at level number 2 to relate well to people is absolutely huge in your success.
Thank you very much, John. And that was the law of connection. So ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to working with people, Dr. John C. Maxwell says the heart comes before the head. And you can't continuously move people unless you first move them with emotion. So, as the famous quotation from Dr. Maxwell, he said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to open the line to see if any one of you would like to come up and get the opportunity to share what you have learned